Hi, this is Dr. Robert Anthony, and I want to welcome you to this first lesson in the secret of deliberate creation. I would like to start off by thanking you for giving me the opportunity to share this information with you. My intention is to make this the most straightforward, no-nonsense, results-producing personal development program that you have ever taken. However, before we begin, I want you to know that I have no idea if what I teach is true or not. Now that may make you uncomfortable, since you paid your hard-earned money to purchase this program, but I must start off by being honest. My truth may not be your truth. I only know what works for me, and that's all that I can share with you. So I don't have the answer to everything. In fact, there are a lot more things that I haven't got a clue about than the things that I understand. However, in this course, I'm not going to deal with things that I don't understand. Everything I will share with you is distilled from studying every major philosophy, religion, and psychological system, as well as dozens of master teachers that I've had the privilege of knowing. It is also based on my professional work with others for over 30 years, along with my own personal evolution. This is truly a curriculum for living your life by design instead of by default. In my opinion, this is the type of education that should be taught in our traditional schools and universities. Unfortunately, it's the education that most of us never received. As we go along, you will probably agree with most of the material that I will share with you in these lessons. However, I want to warn you that some of the things that I will say will make you uncomfortable. Please understand that I've done this on purpose to help you move beyond your comfort zone, so consider it a favor. In order to take full advantage of this program, you must approach it with an open mind and be willing to do some serious thinking outside the box. This will mean considering things that you may have never considered before. The Dynamic Power of Deliberate Creation is an advanced training course. It's not just about positive thinking, goal setting, and so on. We will mention these things as we go along, but this is a much higher level of training. This advanced training is designed to open a new doorway for you, one that connects the visible to the invisible, connecting what you know to what you don't know. During this program, some of the things that you will be exposed to may not make sense to your logical mind. However, they will make sense at a deeper level that you may not be aware of yet. Sometimes you will feel that you understand what I'm saying at a deeper level, but your logical mind still cannot accept it. That's okay. Don't fight it. As we move along, all the pieces will come together. The material within this program contains many layers of understanding. What you understand today will reveal an even deeper hidden truth and an application of that truth later in the program. As you complete each segment of the program, your internalization of the concepts and techniques will begin to accelerate. You will also notice I repeat certain aspects, phrases, and techniques of this program over and over again. I'm not going senile. I'm doing this on purpose so that your subconscious will assimilate what you are learning. I promise you that each lesson will be packed with information that can transform your life. However, in order to be successful and get the best possible results from these lessons, we have to work together. I will provide the knowledge and the information that will enable you to transform your life. But you must apply what you have learned. The key to success with any program, method, strategy, or technique is implementation. Unfortunately, very few people implement what they learn. I find it very frustrating to observe that most people never stick to anything long enough to get results. They are constantly chasing a new strategy, seminar, book, or technique, thinking that they'll finally find the answer to their problems. But all they do is collect more information. In the end, these people wind up with a knowledge base miles long but tissue paper thin. Studying the secret of deliberate creation is not about collecting more information. You probably have too much of that already. So if you're listening to this with the intent of learning something new, you're missing the point. I guarantee you will learn many new things about yourself, but it'll just be more information if you don't follow through. If you follow through, then the small amount of time and the minuscule price that you paid for these lessons will be the best investment that you have ever made. Now I would like you to consider this. It probably took you 20 to 40 years to get where you are right now. And if where you are now is not where you want to be, then you're going to have to make some changes. So I'm not going to promise you instant miracles or instant results if you just listen to this program. What I will promise you is this. During these lessons, I'm going to keep reminding you of what you need to focus on and what actions you need to take to move you to the next level and then eventually to where you want to go. For some, it may take a few weeks, and others a few months. But the good news is you will get there if you follow through. So the kind of therapy that I'm going to use in these lessons is what I call do-do therapy. It will require you to do something or to take action. However, each action you take will get you measurable results. With that in mind, let me start off by asking you a couple of important questions. How do we get what we get in life? And why do some people seem to have it all, while others have very little and they continue to suffer? Have you ever asked yourself the same questions? Did it ever strike you as odd that as human beings, we are intelligent enough to create advanced technological and medical breakthroughs, yet we're still struggling to create the life that we want? We have been conditioned to believe that struggle is normal. That's just the way life is. And we also see struggle as reality. But our reality is not reality. What we call reality is nothing more than our own version of what we believe to be true. Let's face it. Most people have no idea how they get what they get in their life. Their life is just one long series of struggles and worries. Look at your life. First, there's probably a long list of things that you want, but never get, or worse yet, believe you have no chance of getting. Then I'd be willing to bet there's even a longer list of things that you don't want. Yet, you seem to get those things on a regular basis. Now, why is this so? The real problem is that we've all been taught backwards when it comes to creating what we want. Some of us just blame fate or chance and say, well, that's the way life is. But is that really true? I can assure you that it's not. Look at it this way. Imagine you were born with a pair of dark green sunglasses, and you've had them on your whole life. Now imagine that you're looking at a sheet of white paper. What color would you say the paper is? Green, of course. One day someone comes along and they look at the paper and they tell you that it's white. What would you say? You would tell them that they're wrong, that they don't know what they're talking about. They had better go get their eyes checked, or something even more direct. Would it matter how excitedly or enthusiastically that they told you that the paper was white? No. In fact, there is literally no hope and no possibility that you could see it as white as long as you're wearing your green sunglasses. In other words, you couldn't see that the paper is white even if you wanted to, as long as you have the glasses on. Now, if you discover that you have these glasses on, you could take them off. Literally, in just a fraction of a second, you could see what you could not see before, which is the color white. The secret of deliberate creation is about helping you to see the color white. Okay, with that in mind, I'm going to start off this program by predicting your future. That's right, I'm not a psychic, but I'm going to start off by predicting your future with 100% accuracy. Now, how can I possibly do that? It's very simple. I know something about you. Something that will allow me to predict your future with 100% accuracy. And here it is. If you keep thinking what you are thinking, you will keep doing what you are doing, and you will keep getting what you are getting. This is something that I did not understand for many years. For over 30 years of my life, I kept getting the same unwanted results over and over again. The reason for this is that I was unconsciously creating my life by default. Now, when I say by default, what I mean is I had no idea how I got what I got. Most of the time, I felt that things were just happening to me, and that I had no control over the events in my life. I blamed people, circumstances, conditions, God, destiny, the government, my parents, my relationships, and everything and everyone outside of myself for what was happening in my life. It never occurred to me that I was the one who was creating these experiences. The reason is that, for the most part, I couldn't see the connection between my thoughts and what was happening in my life. They seemed disconnected, so it appeared that things were just happening to me randomly or by chance, rather than I was actually causing them to happen. In this first lesson, I'm going to explain in a way that you can understand exactly how your thoughts go out and become things and experiences in your life. Unless we go to the starting point and understand how things are created, or how we got to where we are, we have no way that we can change our current situation. What I would like to do is to help you to finally get what's really happening in your life. In other words, the reason behind the reason. What you are going to learn is that everything that happens to us is created by us, either unconsciously by default or consciously by design. The key to changing our lives for the better is to create our lives by design instead of by default. Now, much has been written and discussed in regard to how our thoughts control our life. Intellectually, I think most people agree with this idea. But if you look at most people's lives, it's easy to see they really don't get it. And this includes most self-improvement junkies who have gone to all the seminars, listened to the tapes, and have read just about every book. I'm sure you are familiar with the saying that in order to change our life, we must change our thoughts. This is not a new idea. Every self-help book, method, or strategy uses this concept as a basis of change. It was even demonstrated quite cleverly in one of the episodes of the original Star Trek. In this episode, called Shore Leave, the Enterprise travels far beyond its galaxy to a planet where every thought instantly becomes reality. The crew is faced with controlling their thoughts so that they can focus on returning to their own galaxy. In this Star Trek episode, each of the crew has a unique experience with their thoughts instantly manifesting as reality. McCoy thinks about this huge white rabbit and it appears right in front of him. Sulu sees an ancient samurai who ends up chasing him. And Kirk sees a former lover, and he gets very emotionally involved in the relationship. After experiencing the joys and sorrows of these events, it finally dawns on the crew, thanks to Spock of course, that they're on a planet that reads their thoughts and instantly creates what they think about. And the only way for them to change their reality was to change their thoughts. This is exactly how all of our realities are created on planet Earth. What you hold in your mind with energy and focus will be created in your reality. Now, sometimes it takes a little longer to experience the result of our thoughts because we keep changing our minds, but whatever we give our dominant attention to will eventually become our reality. Fortunately, we're not like the crew of the Enterprise, where everything that you thought, felt, or said suddenly and immediately appeared in front of you. Sure, you could materialize $1 million on the kitchen table in 30 seconds flat, but each time you had a thought of a fear or a worry about anything, you would also have a monster standing up against the refrigerator trying to eat your lunch. We come into this three-dimensional world with a special blessing of protection that allows us to have thoughts and feelings that don't instantly materialize in front of our eyes as they do in the non-physical dimension. So the fact that you can't materialize whatever you want by just thinking about it may seem to be a hindrance. But it is also part of a greater protection that allows you to learn the art of manifestation without getting hurt in the process. So without thought, nothing happens. Period. Thought precedes everything. While this may sound simple, it's also fundamental to creating change. Everything begins with a seeded thought form. If you've ever planted a garden, you know how a tiny seed can grow into a beautiful plant that bears flowers and fruits. And the reason this is possible is that contained within that seed is a powerful will to create, to expand, and to grow. Our thought forms work the same way. A thought form is the mental aspect that precedes all physical reality. Within our thoughts is the potential to create, expand, and grow, and to have the things that we desire, or the potential to destroy our lives. What we are experiencing today is nothing more than yesterday's leftover thought forms. So if we want a new reality, we must think new thoughts. In order to make any changes in your life, you have to change the thoughts that brought you to where you are right now. If you try to change anything in your life without changing the thoughts first, your brain will check with what it already knows, which is your past or yesterday's thought forms, and just like a computer, it will send an error message that says, "I have no past reference for this. You've never done this before, so you cannot do it." These are called presuppositions. The brain will do everything to support a presupposed truth. Presuppositions are hidden commands that the brain will obey at all costs. They are the key reason why it's so difficult to change. Because if we keep trying to do the same old thing with the same old thoughts, we continue to get the same old results. So how does this work? What are the mechanics or scientific proof of how thoughts become reality? The science of how thought is created into reality can be learned from a basic study of the laws of quantum physics. So let's take a look at how the study of quantum physics is the key to creating your future. The title of this section is Quantum Physics, the Key to Creating Your Future. What does quantum physics have to do with creating your future? I can tell you that it has everything to do with it. Let's take a look at a simplified explanation of quantum physics and find out how we can use it to create our life by design instead of by default. Quantum physics is a science that explains how everything in our world comes into existence. You are the creator of your entire physical world, but up until now you may not have been aware of this fact. Your lack of awareness of how physical matter comes into your life and your part in creating it makes it appear to you that circumstances in your life are often out of your control. It also makes it appear that you're the victim of these circumstances, while all along you're actually the cause of those circumstances. This includes both the good stuff and the bad stuff. A brief study of quantum physics will help you not only to understand how everything is created into your reality, but also exactly how your beliefs and thought processes create the results that you experience in your life. Spiritual teachings have told us that even before you ask, it is given unto you. Quantum physics has now proven that this is scientifically true, and as you will see, ask and ye shall receive is how the universe works. Think about it. When someone tells you that anything is possible if you only believe, have you ever wondered, that all sounds great, but what proof is there that this is really true? Aren't you more likely to believe that it's true if someone showed you step by step and scientifically how your beliefs shift the universe and produce what you believe in? One of the benefits of understanding the basics of quantum physics is that you can finally see clearly how your thoughts, ideas, and beliefs control the outcome of your life. This understanding and knowing enables you to eliminate all doubt and to have 100% confidence in your power to consciously create whatever you want. Quantum physics also shows you how we're all connected and how we're all one. It eliminates the illusion that we're all separate beings. It also gives you a glimpse of how spirit, mind, and matter interact and connect, and how creation actually happens. It shows us exactly how we are co-creators with God or source energy. Once you fully understand what we're about to discuss, you will be amazed at how much power that you have and how easy it is to create any outcome that you desire. Okay, let's get into it. Quantum physics is the study of the building blocks of the universe. Your body is made up of cells. These cells are made up of molecules, which are made up of atoms, which are in turn made up of subatomic particles such as electrons. The study of quantum physics has proven that everything is made up of large groups of subatomic particles. Your body, your car, plants, trees, thoughts, light, everything else, including the entire universe, are concentrations or large groups of energy or subatomic particles. The only difference is in the way these particles are grouped together into building blocks. Knowing how they work is the key to creating your life by design. Subatomic particles are not physical objects. They're not a particle in the same way that a grain of sand is a particle. They're actually probabilities of existence, and at the same time, multiple existences. You'll soon see what all this means, so just hang in there. Don't let all the terminology confuse you. For now, let's just continue our journey into the study of how we can apply this in our life. The subatomic particles are energy packets that are sometimes called quanta. Everything in this universe is made up of energy, and these energy packets behave in the most amazing way. They are at our command. The reason they appear to us as a certain solid thing or object and arrange themselves into an automobile or a table, for example, is due to our individual and collective thoughts. Since we can reduce everything in existence down to subatomic particles, we need to know what they're made of, since they are the building blocks of everything that has been created and everything that ever will be created. So, what are these subatomic particles made of? If you said energy, that's not quite correct. They are not made of energy, they are energy. If you reduced your body to its pure essence, you would discover that you're just one big chunk of energy, and so is everything else. Spirit and mind shape this energy into the physical form that you call your body. Okay, so everything consists of subatomic energy. These subatomic particles are what make up atoms and finally turn into matter. This energy exists as waves spread out over time and space. However, and this is important, only when you exercise the power of observation do these waves become localized particles at a particular time and place. And as soon as you withdraw your observation, they become a wave again. Now, what does this mean? Simply put, your observation, your attention, and your intention to create something takes this energy from the unformed state and literally creates it as a space-time event. This is a scientific fact. No solid object is solid. It's made up of billions of rapidly flashing packets of energy. They flash in and they flash out of space where the object is located. They do not just stay there. So why does your body or your car look like a solid continuous object when we know that it's actually a rapid flashing field of energy? The best way to describe this is to think of a movie. When you watch a movie, you see a person walking across the screen. Yet if you could slow the movie down, what's really happening is that in reality, it's just a film with 24 slightly different frames per second going at a certain speed so that our eyes cannot detect the gap between the separate frames. Each one of those frames is a composite of billions of light photons flashing at the speed of light. That is what creates your reality. So what you see around you is nothing more than a rapid flash that causes an illusion, just like the frames of the movie, that something is solid and continuous. Life is analogous to a movie. In a movie, the frames are moving so fast that you can't see them. The speed of those frames make it look as if those people on the screen are solid, real, and continuous. But both you and I know that they're not. Often when we watch a movie, we become so involved in the action that it looks real, as if we were watching real events taking place. Why else would people jump at scary scenes, or cry at emotional scenes, or laugh at funny scenes? It's because what they see on the screen appears real to them. However, what we see in the movies or in real life is nothing more than energy rearranging itself to appear solid. Only when we observe it and focus on it does it appear as a solid and continuous object. Every single physicist knows that subatomic particles, those energy packets or quanta, are not particles at a particular point in space and time, such as a table or a chair is, but they are probabilities that can exist at various points in space and time. The act of our observing them converts them into a physical particle at a particular point in space and time. But once we withdraw our attention, they become a probability again. I want to repeat that because it's so important. The act of our observing anything converts it into a physical particle at a particular point in space and time. But once we withdraw our attention, it becomes a probability again. In other words, it doesn't exist unless we are observing it. Imagine the chair that you're sitting in right now is one big cluster of subatomic particles. Here's what's really happening to that chair. When you are not in that room and not thinking about your chair, it vanishes. It becomes a probability that reappears right where you are or anywhere else in the universe. When you come back home and you think of sitting on a chair in a particular spot, or you look for a chair in that spot where you wish to sit, it magically reappears. Now, I'm not making this up. I know that this is difficult to believe because the chair seems so real. And it is real, as long as you or anyone else thinks about it or observes it. Quantum physics has proven this to be true. I'm a magician. It's been my hobby for many years. So I know how to make things appear and disappear. And I can tell you that this is not an illusion or a parlor trick. It's just the way the universe works. It's the nature of subatomic particles. That's the way they behave. All matter acts exactly as a large group of subatomic particles. A chair's being there is the result of watching it being there and deciding that it's there. In other words, nothing solid can exist. It has no existence independent of the observer. So the act of observation makes the probability of existence become a definite actual thing. Continuous attention keeps it that way, producing the illusion of a solid continuous existence. Now that's a mouthful, so I will repeat it again. Nothing solid can exist. It has no existence independent of the observer. So the act of observation makes the probability of existence become a definite actual thing. Our continuous attention keeps it that way, producing the illusion of a solid continuous existence.